Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Big Truth Podcast, and I'm stoked to have my man Cary Brobeck with me today from Choppers Magazine, but he's been an industry player for a long time. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it, man. Brobeck, what's going on, buddy? How's it been?
Good, man. Finally recovering from Chopper Fest,
Yeah,
last week, and it was wild. You know, we this was our second year running it, and last year, you know, I guess I could tell the story if you want. How I got it was Tori and his dad Huggy Bear, Dave Hansen ran it for 20 years.
yeah,
So it started back as a tribute to David Mann. It's where David Mann got married, was a Ventura Fairgrounds to Jackie Mann. Um, and then when he passed away, they turned it into a memorial. It started out just as a chopper show. So fast forward 20 years, Huggy Bear unfortunately passed away, and Tori's, it was something he did with his dad, and I think he was just ready to move on. So he hit me up and asked me if I wouldn't mind taking it over. So that's the way it happened. So last year we had like a joint. We did it together, and this year he was hands off. He just like, but that's what he said he was going to do. So, myself and Manny, like my GM and one of my best friends, we just ran the whole show with all our friends and as staff and family. A lot of family helped out. So, it was good shit, man. It was good. A lot of people. We doubled attendance from last year.
yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, like why don't we just, because I'm sure everyone in the chopper community knows who you are, but I got people coming from punk rock and weird conspiracy world and all that stuff. Why don't you give, for people that might not be familiar with you, why don't you give a little bit of background on yourself, and where people can find you and get in touch with you and all that stuff, and then we'll launch into it, because obviously I want to talk about Choppers Magazine. We'll talk more about Chopper Fest and all the stuff that led you to where you are now, man.
Yeah. I'm just a regular dude. I'm just a dad and husband and a scout leader. And, I work construction, a full-time job. I'm a quality control manager. That's my full-time gig. Grew up around bikes. My stepdad, a couple of different stepdads were bikers. I guess my mom liked the biker dudes, I guess.
Yeah.
They were club guy. There was a club guy in there, and so I've been around it. Been around choppers and motorcycles since I was a kid. I kind of, fought it for a long time, that I didn't really want to get into that scene, because I saw a lot of the bad shit that came along with that stuff. We did my buddy Billy just did a documentary called Origins, and it kind of tells my story. So if anyone really wants to know in depth, look it up. It's on YouTube. It's called Origins by Think Lab Motors. But anyways, that was a shameless plug for him.
No. Yeah. And is that just on you, or is it like a series where he's talking to a bunch of people about their like obviously it's kind of like origin stories,
Yeah, it's a series, and I was just my turn, so I'm like episode 5. So he's done a few other people, and he's started on his 6th one already.
Okay.
Really good. He just gets better and better and better. But so just grew up around motorcycles, got married, had a kid, and decided, like, I've been married this will be 25. This is my 25th wedding anniversary coming up. So,
well, yeah, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Got married and said, all right, fuck it, it's time to get on a bike again. And I rode when I was younger, but focused on career, focused on marriage and family for a while. And then about, I'd say it's like 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago was when I was like, all right, I'm in. Built my panhead, same one that I ride today. Built a couple other bikes too, but never got rid of that one. So
that's your forever bike. Your forever bike.
Yeah, forever. Yeah. Almost sold it once to save Choppers Mag, and then I didn't. Some friends stepped in and helped out. So,
well, hell yeah, man. Well, it's funny, and it's not funny, but it's and I want to talk about Chopper's mag and you know the lead up to that and how that happened. But you know, you said you're still working. You know, part of this was like scheduling, and you know, we've been talking about having you come on for a while. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned you're still working, you know, a regular job too. And you know, a lot of people get enamored. They think with industry stuff like, oh man, you know, it'd be great, do this and that. And they don't know the grind, you know what I mean? And it does, like, there's a lot of people I know that, you know, are involved in the industry that still work regular jobs too. Cause you almost gotta, dude. Like it's like, cause I'm sure everyone's like, oh dude, dude owns Choppers magazine. He's got it made, blah, blah, blah. And they don't see the grind of it all. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the hours that go in and like the sacrifice that you're doing to do this. But I know you'd come like, you know, why don't we, you know, you talked a little bit about like how you got into bikes, like what got you like into like specifically choppers versus, you know, just, you know, you could have just got into like being a guy that rides, you know, like whatever the newest M8 thing is, or like whatever the newest is, like, you know, 20 years ago that you do twin cam, you know, street glide. Like what got you specifically into choppers in the culture, the custom aspect of everything, you know? And then I do want to talk about your history in publishing, because it didn't start with choppers. You know, there was like a whole you know, ranch and everything before that. You know,
I mean, I think there was never really any other choice for me. Choppers are just fucking cool, right? Like you could see a panhead chopper and you could see a road glide or whatever, and you go, which one's more cool? And I think it does come from, you know, early skateboarding, punk rock days, you know, went from, you know, skateboarding to punk, kind of dove into the rockabilly a little bit, but not too much, you know. I always thought it was a little hokey, but I still like some of the music, you know, but, but along with that is the custom culture, right? It's got, you know, I mean, tattoos and hot rods and bikes, and it just all goes together, you know. I think it just was it wasn't really a conscious choice to like, do I want a new bike or do I want a chopper? It just was always like, I'm gonna ride a fucking chopper, you know, and that was it. The guys, you know, when Dice magazine first came out, when they first came to America from, you know, England, I mean, I think I met those guys on issue 3 or 4, I don't know, very, very early on. And they really opened my eyes. Like I knew I wanted a chopper, but they really opened my eyes to what you could do, you know, within this custom world. So, you know, my stepdad, he rode the same, I think he had a 68 Jenny Shovel, you know, even in a club, you know, guys were ripping around on dynos and shit. He had his kickstart, you know, shovelhead that they probably hated him for now that I think about it, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of just happened. I don't know. Like I said, it's not a conscious choice. So
I hear you, man. And I always tell people, because, you know, I have the same kind of origin, like background, you know, like punk rock, skateboard and all that stuff. To me, it was like it was the next iteration. It was, like you said, it was a logical progression. And it was the next iteration of loud, fast, dangerous, and do it yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what the punk rock world was, and, you know, the skateboard world was back in those days. You know what I mean? You know, so it was a logical. It didn't even seem like a progression. It was just like, that's the next thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just, you know, someone in your crew gets a bike, or a chopper, and then it's just everyone. Then the next guy, and then you've got one, and, you know, it was, yeah, like it's just it was very natural, very organic progression into this for sure.
Yeah. So like in your head, like when I was a kid, you know, and it's funny because I don't know, we're probably in the same age range and background. Like when I was a kid, I remember seeing club guys go by. I remember being with my father driving around, you know, being a little kid without a seatbelt on in the passenger seat. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the 70s style, and seeing club guys go by, and they were on choppers. So in my head, like, the archetype of a motorcycle was always a chopper. Like, because I remember, I'm like, wow, these things are loud, wild. Like, you know, you know, there's something about a chopper, if it resonates with you, like, especially from a young age, it's different than a regular bike. I like all bikes. You know what I mean? I'm not shitting on anything.
Yeah.
but it was just, there was something that stood out for that. So like when I first got into bikes, I was like, man, this isn't like, I was looking, and I didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't know like what it, like what a chopper was. I was like, nah, like, cause I remember being like, I don't like this bike. Cause I remember like the bikes I saw, the tank came up like this, like, and I, I had a vision of like a coffin tank and it's sticking up. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And then my buddy, Jay, who ended up becoming my business partner for a long time, he was like, he inherited he reacquired his father's old Triumph chopper. It was in his uncle's attic, and brought it down and reacquired that and put it back together. I was like, that's what it was. That's what's in my head. He's like, yeah, chopper, like,
Yeah.
and then it was like, then that started the sickness right from there. And then, I built my first Triumph, and and obviously with help of like Don Hutchinson from Hutchinson Cycles out here. And cause I was green as fuck. And it started out like that. So in your head, when you saw bikes, was like, is that what it always was like chopper was what was a bike in your head type of thing?
Yeah. Growing up, there was a mix of everything, really. Like there was, kind of that late 70s, early 80s shovelhead style, kind of stockish bikes. Maybe they put apes on it. There was that around, and then there was a couple choppers around, but I can't even really remember, but I definitely know it's like a shovelhead with ape hangers, a dude with a fucking beard and a greasy, cut on. Like, yeah, for sure. That's what I remember as a kid, remember that side of it.
Where did you grow up?
In Southern California, in LA area. Yeah. Whittier, East LA, Montebello, Peak, like this whole kind of Tri-City area here.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm jealous of you right now, dude. Cause it's like 7 degrees out and it's like the snow is like melted. We're in that type of year with that time of year over here where it's like 35, 40 degrees in the day. And then it goes back into like the single digits at night. So everything ices up. It's just fucking gross, dude. I'm
about to be there next weekend for Mama Tried. And I was like, we got a guy transporting out some stuff out there. And he's like, are you bringing your bike? And I was like, yeah, I think my bike just rip around. And I was like, hold on, look at the weather. And I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't. Bike doesn't need to go, man. I got a fucking Escalade rented. I'll just do that. So
yeah. It's tough, man, too, because like, this is like, as someone's like, you obviously have like, your magazine and everything. And I have Chopperhead and like when we go to these shows and we set up, it's like, it's always the juggle, man. Like, can I bring my bike too? Like, or am I just bringing a bike to bring to the show, or can I bring something to rip around on? Am I going to even have time? Am I just going to be a slave to the booth? Like, it's different when you have to set up versus like when you can just go out somewhere and like have a good time at a show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It sucks, right? Like it's like everybody ripping around, wherever it is. I mean, obviously probably not Mama Try, but this past weekend in Ventura, the weather was 70 degrees. We're on the beach, palm trees, 70-degree weather, people riding in t-shirts, and I'm like in my truck with a 20-foot trailer full of stuff for the show. So I thought about it, same thing you're just saying, like, should I bring my bike just to rip around town? And I was like, I'm gonna be tired, and I wouldn't have rode it, So there's some downfalls to doing this stuff too. You know what I mean? Some downsides. I say that you don't get as much, wind time.
Yeah. Or anything, because like, especially like, when you're hosting the show and putting on the show, unless you carve out something specifically like, all right, we're going to do a ride as part of the show, and then you can do that. But you're the point person. So, I'm sure you had a Choppers magazine booth and you're running that. And then you're also running the show and the logistics and a million people like, hey, we need something here with this, that, you know what I mean? It's tough to enjoy. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, you look at it almost like from like a parent standpoint, we're like, hey, this is my thing. And, like you can appreciate it, but you're not in it like someone that's like a, just going as a attendee, like, and that can just, it's a different mindset and a different, set of responsibilities,
We had over 10,000 people come through the gate. So it was a pretty massive show for us. I had never put on a show with that many people. We've done the 5,000-6,000 range, to double that was nuts. It was like, it was putting out fires. Yeah, I was just talking to Manny, my manager, and he was like, man, next year you don't work. He's like, you just host. He's like, we'll handle everything. So we're gonna, we'll have a little bit of growing pains, and we're gonna add some staff and change some things around, and so that I can ride my bike next year, and just cruise in and pretend I'm the boss, and that's it. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So the scene it's I don't know. I feel like things are weird. Like I feel like we're kind of in a good place with choppers right now. Obviously, I don't know. Like out here on the East Coast, in general, industry is just down. Like but it's down for everything. Like economy is making everything's like, especially out here, like where you can't ride year round. Like motorcycles are like a luxury, you know what I mean? Like, so like if people have to choose between feeding their family and keeping their car going so they can get to work and the motorcycle is going. So right now you can buy bikes cheap. Everything's kind of gone down. Even just here, like with the bike shop things, this was one of the slower years we've had on the books. But at the same time, like, I feel like in a way that's good because it's kind of like, I'm not saying this in a dicky way, but it's kind of shaking out the dead weight a little bit. You know what I mean? Like people that are in it now are like really in it. Like, and they're, I guess for lack of a better word, true believers. There's not a lot of tourists, like 2005, when all the TV shows were on, there was 1 million people that were like in the bikes, and a lot of them were just like in it because of they saw it on TV. But like, it feels like now that there's like a good core group, and it seems like more solid. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it.
No,
you know what I mean? I don't know if that's what's going on out there.
I mean, it's a little different out here because we can ride year round, but
yeah,
we run into the same thing out here where people kind of float in, float out, and right now it seems like they're on their way out. Maybe they found fucking Sea-Doos or something. I don't know, whatever they're into, right? But I was watching the Mecum bike, auction, and bikes were way cheaper than they did even last year. So I'm like, okay, things are getting back to normal. It takes some time. It's crazy to think that like, I don't have a knucklehead, right? Knuckles now, if I want to buy knucklehead, it's 40,000 minimum. Like, I can't see taking money off my table, food for my family for 40. I know it'll hold its value and it'll be worth it, but I got a panhead. It runs fine. I don't need that. But shovelhead prices went way up. Panhead prices in California are crazy now. Like it's 20 up, which is nuts. I bought my panhead for $4,000. It was 20 years ago, but I bought it for $4,000. So yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. And as these people filter out that aren't, maybe getting into it just because it's cool for a minute, that probably happens with everything. I'm assuming, it's just, there's people that are really into it, and there's people that are just, cruising along.
Yeah.
So
I'm just talking about in general. It seems down. Like we said, yeah, I saw some of that Mecum auction too, and I'm like, damn, like shit's getting back into prices where be able to start scooping stuff up again. You know what I mean? Because it got wild for a long time, and it's like, and I think too, for a while in the chopper world specifically, I don't know, and you have probably more of a pulse on this, but it seems like the Japanese dudes are buying less or, importing less out there. So it's like that also like lets values kind of like breathe a little bit, you know what I mean? Because like, for a while, it's like everything was going overseas, like whether it's to Europe or Japan or whatever. And it seems like a lot of it's died down like that. But yeah, I don't know. But that said, but you being able to double the attendance of the show, like, shows that there's still like a strong community around, which is fucking awesome, man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we definitely made some moves to get that attendance bump, right? Like, we brought in a Vikla show. I mean, it's California. I'm a big fan of the Vikla motorcycles. I'm half Mexican. It's in my blood. I dig what they're doing. I mean, those guys put more work and money into their bikes than any chopper dude I know. They're insane. So we brought this gal Lydia in, and she did that was one of my favorite parts of the show. Like, it was inside a giant Kwanzaa hut building, and she brought like Aztec dancers in and lowrider cars and the bikes, and it was just bitching. So, you know, we gained that crowd. Then we pushed on, you know, because Harley Davidson's our title sponsor, and they don't like to just see old shitty choppers, right? They want people on new bikes. So they brought out the truck and trailer with all the new models and all the Born Free builds. And then we teamed up with Ration Supply Co. And if anyone rides a new bike, they'll know who these guys are. They're great people, man. They're family guys. You know, you go to their giant warehouse and office, and it's mom is there, and you know, wife is working. It's a family run business, big business, but it's family run business. His dad does 2 Lane Life podcast, pretty big show. But we brought the newer. I called it a performance show, and I met with him yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know why you called it a performance show, because like people thought they had to have like hot rods and stuff, but I thought it sounded better than modern bike show." But yeah. But so now we had the Vikla people, we had the newer modern bike people, and the same, you know, 4,000 chopper people, maybe 3,500, 4,000, you know, chopper people that were there, and it was fun. There was not, you know, 10,000 people, not one fight, not, you know, everything was great. Great vibe. Everybody was smiling, having a good time, drinking beers, having, you know, it was good. It was
That's rad, dude. Like, and it's cool because it is like when me and my buddy Packer used to do a show out here called Full Speed Ahead, and you know, we would incorporate hot rods and you know, have a modern piece part of the show, like, you know, like the Dyna performance bagger type of situation, you know, and it's cool because, you know, there's different lanes, but you know, the funny thing is like, if you bring some hot rods to a chopper show, everyone's like glomming onto the hot rods, you know what I mean? And if you go to a hot rod show and you bring a couple choppers, all the car guys are going and glomming onto the choppers because it's something else, you know what I mean? So it keeps things moving, it keeps things interesting for everybody, and you know, so it is good to have, you know, different crowds there, and then you bring a bigger community together, and you never know when some crossover stuff might happen. Like, you get a guy that's like a bagger guy who looks at the old choppers like, oh man, you know, that's cool, like maybe I do, and vice versa, you know. Sometimes it's, you know, especially as we get older, and it's like, man, you know, like, you're an old chopper guy, and sometimes it's like, man, it might be all right to have a push button bike that goes fucking fast if I got to get somewhere as a commuter, you know what I mean, or whatever, you know what I mean. So you get this
way, yeah. It's funny you say that. It was when I met with the thrashing guys there. They want to build choppers now, but to be fair, they started on choppers. Like Lance, the guy that owns it, he started on a chopper. He was showing me pictures. I think he was in high school, and he was like on it almost looked like a Sucker Punch Sally type bike that he built. Then he had a panhead, and then he just got into new bikes and started this company, and it took off. And now he's like, you know, doing Chopper Fest with him inspired him now to get on a chopper. So I think we're going to build some choppers with him, and we're going to do a Sturgis ride on all choppers. So, you know, it's different for these guys. They haven't been on them in a while. They're all new bike guys, and they, you know, get bikes from Harley, and, you know, it's going to be fun. But yeah, there is a lot of crossover stuff. So if I told him, if I'm helping him build a chopper, like, he's got to help me build something, an FXR or a Dyna or a bag or something, look cool. And then, you know, it's time. I'm fucking 53, man. Like, yeah. We met. We should tell that story how we met. Do you remember how we met? Where we met? Mexico City.
All right, yeah. Well, so like, but that's what I was gonna ask you too, because I was like, did we meet but we must have talked or something before then, you know, like, I'm sure, like, just you know, industry type stuff. But yeah, I think the first time we actually like met, like, and hung out in person was at those Mexico City shows, man.
That was wild.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't even tell those stories. I don't know, but man, that was a good time, man.
Oh yeah, shout out to Charlie and Juan Pablo and all the dudes down there. That biker shelter spot, all that. They had it going on down in Mexico City, man. Like, it's sad that show kind of dissipated, because I was like pulling for it, because they had a cool scene starting down there. And I know I still talk to Charlie and Juan Pablo every now and then. And you know, I know they're still going, but like that show was the Amanopla show, dude. That show was fun, man. Like
Yeah.
yeah, Mexico City's a rad place. I think it's a little like, it's a little dicey over there right now, but it's, but you know what? That never stopped any chopper guys from having a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would definitely go back. We should talk them into doing another show. So.
Yeah, man. Be like, all right, dude, we're ready to help you guys push it. Let's do it. We'll talk offline about that and loop those guys in. So yeah, so like, how did you go? Like what got you into you talked a little bit about getting into bikes and everything, but what made you want to do magazine stuff? And I know yeah, we definitely talked before because we talked when you were doing other things, like, you know what I mean? But like, I don't think like we'd ever like hung out face to face.
Yeah.
But like, tell a little bit about what got you into the whole publishing side of things and what pushed you towards that.
Well, man, it was I guess I gotta blame Matt and Dean from Dice from like, kind of show me how to do it. We started riding with them, hanging out with them, and I'd help them out, even if it was just packing magazines to send out, we were doing that. And then I had another buddy, JJ photographer, that was like, dude, we should start our own mag. So we did. We started this little mag called Hopper. And it was a little digest size too, mag, and it was not just bikes. It had skateboard shit, punk rock shit. It was almost, we called it a men's magazine, almost like a punk rock men's magazine, focused on bikes, but had some other shit. We did like an issue 0 and an issue 1. And while all that was going on, I was doing a bike build with my buddy Jason from Sacred Steel, and we did it was a History Channel show. So we did a biker build off against another builder. We were such just retards. Like, we didn't take it serious, and we kind of just fucked off the whole time during while they're filming, and they would leave and we would build shit, and they'd come back the next night and shit's done. Anyways, we killed it. We won the show, and the editor from Easy Riders was one of the judges, Dave Nichols. So after we won, we went out drinking, and I grew up with Easy Riders. I mean, I grew up, I got kicked out of, like, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade for bringing them to school, Easy Riders with titties out or something. And, and I always say, I think, the first time I like fucking rubbed one out was to an Easy Riders, because I was laying around the house, right? So,
hey, it's better than his catalog, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's that too. But got to the after party after we won, kind of kissing his ass a little bit, because I'm like, fuck, this is the editor from Easy Riders, right? But by the 4th margarita or something, I was just like, your mag sucks now, dude. Like, I really went hard on him, and he didn't disagree, which was crazy. And he was like, well, come on down and let's talk and see what you can do to help us out. At that point, I wasn't a writer. I wasn't a photographer. I wasn't anything. I could barely speak English, right? So how he wanted me to write a story for him. So he says, yeah, why don't you, what's coming up? And I think it was El Diablo Run 2. Like, there was a second one. I saw the first one in maybe the Horse Mag, or I don't know where I saw it. I saw it early on. I said, well, I'm going to do this crazy ride to San Felipe and Ensenada. And they're like, man, Mexico, all right, we'll take some pictures, write a story. So I did, and they did like a 6-page spread on that, and in Biker Mag, and everyone loved it. They offered me a job. So that's how I got in with Paisano Publications and Easy Riders. And I was still working, in my construction job, and doing that part-time. And then that led to, when we did Wrench, it was because I was putting too many choppers into the new Easy Riders, and they didn't like it. I think, they were trying to sell ads to, modern bike companies, and having choppers that didn't make sense. So then we started Wrench Mag. We got Wrench Mag going. That went for a while. It was short-lived. They couldn't sell ads. They had their staff was very, very dated. It's like everyone's been there 20 years and wasn't in the scene. Like, they hadn't even Born Free was like on its 5th Born Free 5, and they're like, "Oh, should we go to this thing? Do you think it's cool?" And I'm like it's the biggest show in California.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? So,
they were from another era, and they just didn't keep up. They didn't keep up. Yeah.
No. Joe Teresi actually told me that the internet was just a fad and it was going to go away.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for it to go away.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish it would,
But yeah, so that led to me trying to buy Easy Riders and not falling through, and then I got linked up with some fucking shady partner that was like, let's start our own mag, and I'll fund it all and you just run it. And that lasted 1.5 to 2 issues when he was already trying to run it, and we got into it, and I had to buy him out because Chopper's Mag, I've told the story before, is like, I was trying to find a name for a magazine, and everything cool was taken. Because if you're trying to start a brand, it's got to be, you got to have the socials available, you got to have the website available, you got to have the trademarks available. And I was like on my wits end of just like, I don't know what I'm going to call this fucking thing. And I'm sitting in my shop and I see a stack of, the old Ed Roth Choppers mags that I had. And I was like, had my laptop. I was like, oh, I wonder who owns this now? Let's just see. I looked it up and it was the trademark was available. I was like, huh, go on Instagram. Choppers Mag is available. Oh, go on Facebook. Choppers Mag is available. And I was like, how is it possible? So scooped them all up, got the trademarks, got everything done. But before we did one issue, I think this is an important thing to tell is I got a hold of Ed Roth's son and let him know, hey, I got these trademarks. I got the socials. I got everything lined up. I want to print a magazine. I need your blessing. And he was not stoked at first. He was just like, you can't do that. That was my dad's company. I have all the archives. And I was like, well, let's work together. Let's do this together then, and he wasn't interested. He wasn't interested in doing a magazine. He wasn't interested in motorcycles. I think he was a retired cop, is what somebody told me. And in the end, I just said, hey, man, I just want to make a magazine. And I think this is a cool name. And I would love to. I mean, Ed Roth is, fuck Big Daddy. Like, how can this is cool. I'm not trying to be Ed Roth. I'm doing my own thing. Right. But I really want to do it. And in the end, he gave me his blessing. He said, go for it. Like, you won't hear anything out of me. So, which was cool. So that, to me, that was, that was the sign to really do it. So.
Yeah, it's wild, man, because it's funny because like I have a side project band we just started, and it was like the whole thing, man, is like finding a name now is the hardest thing in the fucking world, dude, for like a company, a band, whatever it is you're trying to do, and have a name that hits hard and like is good. And so I can't believe that. I can kind of believe that they let the trademark, or if it ever was even trademark, if it lapsed, because it lapses after a certain amount of time, that it makes sense that you might be able to scoop that up. But the fact that nobody took like Choppers Mag, like any of the socials,
crazy, right?
Name is, that's all a sign, man. That's the way I would look at it. It's like, hey, this is all available. Like, this is a sign. And I wanted you to actually tell the story of like how it came about, because I know, we talked and I knew the kind of the background a little bit about how you had dealt with his son on getting it going and stuff. And I think it's rad that you pay homage to it, because, for me, especially being a East Coast dude, like, I'm sure they were more plentiful down there, but finding those magazines, those were like unobtainium, man. And those were like holy grail finds. Like, if you could find a copy of like the old Roth Choppers, or I have a couple of the old like full-size posters and stuff, they got tears and stuff. I gotta actually I'm gonna bring them to like a place that like does archival stuff to like really like get the posters laid out and framed correctly, with like museum glass and stuff, because if I even look at it, like I see it, like I'll make another tear in it just by like my eyes looking at it, you know what I mean? I got like gorilla hands and stuff. I'm not dainty or careful with anything. So but that stuff was such relic. Like I remember when I found like an old Roth, like air cleaner, like the birds, like the bird deflector air cleaner. And I was like, oh man, and it had the Roth stamp, like, just being a kid, not even a kid, but just being younger and being so stoked on that stuff. And I'm so glad that you kept it going in the way you did it. Like, especially like, you were doing like, didn't you get like some of the, like a box of like some of the old ones from them or something? Like
those posters, I've got them all framed.
Yeah.
Every one of them that came from the Roth family, everyone except the Sonny Barger one I have, because he threw that one out because he didn't like him. So I've got them all from his family, and I've got a bunch of the archive stuff too, like the original layout boards and stuff from the magazine. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, just sitting on my shelf right there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I'm a big collector of art, so I've got I mean, I'm gonna jump into something. You can cut me off if you want, but we just I've been working with Jackie Mann a lot for the Chopper Fest, and I just signed a license deal with her so that we can print. I can't touch any of the Paisano stuff. They still own all that stuff. They won't allow Jackie to print any of that. But all the early Ed Roth stuff that Jackie owns, I can, we're gonna come out with a whole line of shirts and really cool shit that we're working on. We've set up a nonprofit organization called the David Mann Legacy Foundation. And what we're going to do with that is try and raise money. I mean, and to buy this. So there's a lot of Dave Mann art floating out there with a lot of old timers. And I worry that this, like, someone's grandson or granddaughter is not going to know. They're going to see this like half naked woman on a chopper and be like, this, throw it away. This is garbage. Right. Yeah. So we want to try and start tracking some of this stuff down, offering decent money for it, preserving it, not so that I own it. It's all going to belong to this foundation that will have a board, and we'll be able to, to preserve it and to show it and to let people see it. Like I want to see it in the Peterson. I want to see it in the Harley Museum, like, stuff like that. So, and then it just, I don't know what happens to it. We're still setting this thing up, but it belongs to this foundation, and it just, as we get a board members and people come and go, it moves with those people. And it's, I'm going to die someday, and I don't want my kids to throw it away. So, I want it to be well preserved, well taken care of. So that's something really cool that I'm doing. I'm working on that with Davey Gant and Tommy Boy and Jackie Mann. They're all in Kansas City. So yeah.
And that's important, man. It's you got to preserve that artwork, like, because it's like you said, even with like you said, dealing with Roth's son, like he didn't want nothing to do with it, but he also, it's like if you had proceeded, or if he wanted to be a dick, he could have tried to block it or whatever. Like, I don't know how legally things could have worked, but it was good that you did it with his blessing. But at the same time, it's like he had all that stuff, but wasn't going to do anything with it, but was kind of being protective of it because it was his father's. But it's like, hey man, I'm just trying to keep this going, you know what I mean? Like, and it's important to pass, get people to pass the torch, whether it's on like someone's got an original man painting kicking around, and it's like it's in the, like, you know what I mean, it's like it's packed up in someone's like storage unit or in someone's basement or attic or something. It's like that stuff needs to be preserved, and that's a righteous thing to do, man, is to get that stuff and have it be preserved and be able to be available for people to see again, you know what I mean? And
I've been gifted a few Dave Mann originals from people that basically old timers that, Kim Peterson gave me some stuff, and Dave Nichols gave me some, all old Easy Riders people that they just, they've enjoyed it for 30 years, and they're just like, it's your turn. And so now eventually I'll want to do the same. I'm not going to try and sell something that was given to me. I'll pass it down to somebody, or it stays in this foundation and, gets displayed somewhere. So we'll be doing it. We just at Chopper Fest, we just had, Davey Gant drove down because we don't really want to ship any of these Dave Mann original items. We've got Gray Cat's coat that's in all the paintings. We've got the Ankh Sissy bar that Dave made, and like it's not just paintings. It's his paintbrushes. It's his glasses. It's his artifacts, right? So we ship that stuff. So Davey had to rent a van, drive from Kansas City here, gets in a 4-car pile up. Like it is craziness, man. Yeah, it was just crazy, but it happened. We got to show it, and then we'll be back in Kansas City sometime in September, and showing more stuff. So, it's pretty neat to see if anybody's out there. You could you can open up an Easy Riders and see a centerfold and go, wow, these are cool. But to see some of this stuff and the brush strokes and the paintbrushes that painted in, and some artifacts from him, I mean, if you're a fan of art, a fan of motorcycles, or a fan of motorcycle art, you should come see this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it's gonna be on display at all of them, like the Chopper Fest and everything.
Yeah. So we're taking a little bit of it with us to. I think Tommy just texted me. He's taking 6 or 8 pieces to Mama Tried. So he'll have a couple original things. I don't know what they selected. It's I kind of leave that in their hands. They're the caretakers of the art of Jackie's art right now. So and they're all in Kansas City, so it makes sense. So one of them will drive it up. We'll have a few pieces hanging. Yeah, I mean, that's it. So we'll be there. We're going to do a little show in Sturgis at the Buffalo Chip. We'll have some pieces hanging there. But then Kansas City we're going to do another Kansas City Chopper Fest in the West Bottom somewhere. So.
Hell yeah, man. That's rad. Yeah, because especially like, as the foundation gets going and there's more of a budget and stuff, if you could make like a little traveling version of it to hit all the main shows, man, let people get their eyes on that stuff like in person. It's cool. Have you ever been to, this is my first, I had to go pick up a bike in Albany, and I had never been to the have you heard of the Motorcyclopedia Museum in Connecticut?
No.
It's on the border of Connecticut and upstate New York. It's V-Twin Manufacturing, Ted. Yeah. He's got a museum, and he's got a bunch of old Roth stuff. He's got like the mailbox. He's got like,
oh, I didn't know that.
I'm going to send you some pictures. I'll send you some pictures offline. If you're ever out this way, dude, you got to go check that place out. Cause he's got like, I'm like, no one like, people know about the place, but people in the chopper world don't really understand what's there. There's so much there, dude. And not only is there so much there, like in just as like, there's a bunch of old like Roth trikes, Roth bikes and stuff. He's got stuff from everyone, but then he's got a bunch of like famous movie bikes and TV show bikes and all this stuff. And then there's so many vintage bikes. Like I can't even keep track. I'll send you some pictures. Like,
definitely.
That's something you might want to check out sometime too, man. Is if you're ever out this way.
A trip just to go there. I'll head out just to go there. Yeah. We do want to do. We've been kicking around the idea of doing something on the East Coast, like do a Chopper Fest, New York or New Jersey or something like that. Or maybe just do something with Bobby when he does his block party again. If it does, I don't know.
Yeah. He's always funny. He's like, the last few years, he's like, this is gonna be the last one, you know what I mean? And it's like,
he tells me that every time. You got to come. This is the last one.
Yeah. He's like, you can't kill that thing, man. You can't kill that. But I'll send you some pictures when we're off here. But yeah, man. And I'll talk to you about some other stuff too. So Choppers, what issue are you on now? Because
we just did.
You doing it monthly still, or are you doing it?
We never did a monthly. No, the full-time job and and the family doesn't. We try. Yeah. We do 4 a year. Sometimes we try to do 6. It didn't work out too well. I can get 4 out a year. I mean, they're high-end 100-page coffee table books now. Perfect bound now. I don't know if you've seen the new ones. We went away from the staple. Yeah, I'll get you some out in the mail. Yeah. But they're very well done. My layout guys. I got a new guy. Beatnik is still around. He's an old Easy Rider's head, but I got a new layout guy too. That's helping him named Kyle. He did a take of his own version of Miraculous Mother called Benevolent Brother, and it's so good. A little homage to my Easy Rider days, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. How are when some of the older guys see the new incarnation of Choppers, and I know it's been around for a while now, but like are they stoked on it, or are they like, hey man, this is cool, or is it like they're like, this reminds me of like back in the day, that type of vibe?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the old timers do, right? Because that's a lot of our clientele. I guess these younger kids, they'll still flip through it on their phone. We do have a digital version, but a lot of our readerships are older cats, and they love it. I mean, I haven't had one complaint. Complaint is the cost, mostly to mail it, but the weighs over a pound.
Yeah.
So, and it has to get out to you. So I don't make any money on that. So that's what I tell them, like, talk to your post office, man.
Yeah. I get that all the time too. Like, hey man, my stuff isn't here. And I'm like, you saw I shipped it, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, once that left me, dude, you have complaints with the post office, bro, not me, homie. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, go drive out to North Carolina and find it, at the,
but, it'll be there. Don't worry. Yeah. So
yeah. But no, yeah. I mean, that's what I like about the magazine is like it's got the old vibe to it. It's quality. It's something to hold. You know what I mean? And that's important because I'm still, I'm the same age as you. You know what I mean? So like, I'm still someone that like wants to flip through. I just haven't had time. I'm like so behind on everything right now, dude. Because I've been working like 7 days a week. I got a bunch of different crap going on. But yeah, man, I always, I have all the original, all the early issues and stuff. And, they're just like it's quality, dude, and that's how you got to do it now, right? Because you're competing with the internet. You got to do it almost like a, like you said, like a bound book, like like.
And it is definitely we make it a collectible book. We keep our print runs as low as we can with subscribers. We know about how many we're going to sell, and then we just buy, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 extra from what we think we're going to sell. But I'm lately with kind of partnering up with Harley Davidson and stuff, we're getting a lot of new readership. So it seems like every other issue I have to up my print run because I'm selling out. I'm starting to sell out, which is good, but it bums people out, because I'm a collector too. So when I like miss a mag and it sells out, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Try and find it, and then you pay $100 for it online somewhere or something for magazines. Sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going well. We got another issue just about ready to drop. 2 issues about ready to drop because we got to get 2 more out for last year's subscribers because we did 6 and we didn't make it. So we're getting these next 2 out in the next month and a half, and then we'll be on to the 2026 subscription, which will be 4 issues. So
yeah. Oh yeah, man. And the anything. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, man, because now I got so much shit going through my head right now. Like because I like anything else going on like with like sorry, dude. I just totally blanked out. Whatever.
That's all right. Yeah.
But let's keep it moving. Like anything going on different in 2026 with the magazine, or is it still just dialing it in more? Like anything?
We've got a few ideas. I think we've done a couple of like we've done 2 Texas editions now, and people are always we've done 2 Texas editions and 1 Milwaukee. Was it Milwaukee? Yeah, Milwaukee edition. And so I get people from other states, from other say, you should do a Canadian one. You should do this. I'm like, yeah, get me 10 bikes shot and your runs that are in your area, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Only Texas comes through, man. Like, well, Milwaukee did too, but it's like that's not an easy task to get 10 bikes shot. I mean, it's not. I'm not asking them to pay for it. We'll pay for it, but you line up 10 bikes in your area, and you give me yeah. And we pay our photographers, we pay our writers, but you get me all that and we'll do one. But I've got a few ideas to do one. One idea, and I haven't even started yet. I really would like to do like an all women's rider edition. They don't have to have built their bike. I don't care. Like, but if you ride a chopper and you're a girl, I got mad respect for you, man, because these things aren't easy, right? And there's a lot of chicks across the country or around the world that ride some pretty cool choppers. So, if I can make that happen, I'd love to do that. We thought about doing taking the Choppers Mag formula and doing a new mag for newer bikes, right? Because I mean, Choppers Magazine is great. It's cool. It's fun. It's it pays for itself. There's no money in it, and I'm not doing it for the money, but if I wanted to ever quit my job, if I want to, like, I was up since 4:30 this morning. If I ever want to stop that, like, I need to make a magazine that could sell ads to sell ads, to newer bikes. So we're kicking that idea around too, but as right now, I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. I'm busy with, like I said, with family and with choppers, and then these shows we're doing now is taking a lot of time. So.
And plus regular ass work on top of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know what I wanted to ask you now. There's two things, and one I'm going to ask this delicately, like answer however you want. Dealing with Harley, what's it like? I mean, all right, we all love Harley Davidson products. We all have a love-hate relationship with the company. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm not saying you, I'm saying, but I'll say me, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, Harley's one of the only companies that you can absolutely like love love some of the products and hate the fucking company half the time. And you're like, what the fuck is going on with these guys? Like, but they also will do some cool shit. Like they'll like co-sponsor, or be a main sponsor of like Mama Tried or like some chopper stuff. Like how is it working? Is it just like a couple people that are in there that are into cool shit and are like trying to like kind of keep things going, like with like maintaining a relationship with like their past and like their cool shit? Like, or is like what's your experience like with working with like Harley,
I mean, I'll start off with, I was in your shoes and a lot of people's shoes for a lot of years. Like, fuck the factory, this and that, right? For a long time.
Yeah.
And I'd be saying that while wearing a Harley shirt, riding a Harley Davidson, maybe having a Harley hat, like, and I'm like, yeah, fuck Harley. And I was like, I just matured, and I was like, even before they were a sponsor, I was like, well, this is dumb. Like, why am I why do I still buy Harley shirts if I'm this guy saying this, right? So I had gotten over that years ago. Gotten over that part years ago, and just, it's a corporation. It's a giant corporation. They do what they got to do to continue to be a corporation, right? Like they're not going to come out with the shirts they used to come out with, or they're not going to come out with stuff that, especially in today's climate with, I don't want to say wokeness, but whatever it is, with people canceling for everything
with modern sensibilities.
There you go. I like that. So, when I got an opportunity to work with them, it all came from my buddy, from Jeff Holt, who called me out of the blue one day, and he's like, "Are you coming to Daytona?" And I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not going to. Why would I go to Daytona? Like, I ride a chopper, dude. Like, there's no choppers there." And he's like, "There's choppers there, And I said, "Man, I don't think." He's like, "Well, my buddy's going to call you from Harley. He wants you to do the chopper show there." And I was like, "Oh." So that was our first show we did with them. So we did the show with them in the Speedway there in a parking lot. We had a blast though. We had a good time, and they were great. That person that helped me moved on, and the person that took his place, his name is Brian, became a friend. It is, there's a lot more cool people than you would think in there. There's a lot of really good, my managing editor, Max Barna, he now works for their like global marketing team. Like they got a fucking biker in there. He's a little fella, angry Philadelphian. He's probably listening or will listen to this. And he's kicking ass there. He is kicking, like he is a real deal biker, but very intelligent and very good at his job in marketing. So there's a lot more cool people than you think. They are beholden to corporate structure, right? Like anything, when they went to the whole DEI stuff, I just laughed at it because I was like, man, every corporation is going through that. Any corporation you could think of that you're involved with went through that. It wasn't nobody going the opposite of it. So they were doing what they had to do because somebody in the internet told them they had to do it. Now, they got this new CEO, and I got to meet him in Italy. Very down to earth guy. I did hear some shit. Well, he's from Top Golf. He's not a biker. He's not pretending to be a biker. He's a fucking CEO, and he needs to turn this company around, and he needs to get new riders on bikes, and he's got a job to do. And I had a 10-minute conversation with him in Italy. I got a meeting with him set up in Mama Tried. I think he's going to be good for the motor company. He's American, nothing against Jochen. He was a great guy too, but this guy I think is going to be great. And I hope he continues to support like the historical or the history part of Harley Davidson, right? Because without all of us on these old choppers riding around, like there may not be a Harley Davidson anymore, right? So I think they know that they've got to pay homage to where they come from. And they're doing it, and they have done it, and they've been great to work with. I would not, work with anyone else. If Harley left me as a sponsor today, I would not go run into Indian like other people do. It's like I've seen it in shows, Paradise Roadshow got dropped and they ran straight to, I'm calling them out, I don't care. They ran straight to Indian, and I don't ride an Indian. I don't want to ride an Indian. I don't care. Like, Indians are cool. They're great. If that's your thing, it's not my thing. I would rather just, fund everything myself than like, I got some loyalty to this brand, and that's it. That's where I'm at with them. So
yeah, no, I would just be remiss to ask, because the chopper community wants to know, like, what the fuck is up with them, like, why they get, because it seems like sometimes they'll pay like some attention to choppers in history, and then sometimes they don't, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I was just wondering what it was like that, but I always had a feeling that I was like, there's got to be some motherfuckers that know what's up in there, because they'll hire certain people that I know, or and they always have seem to have good photographers, or they'll cherry pick from our world, you know what I mean, and get people in there, and so. So I just want people that have hope. That's all. You know what I mean?
No, they're great to work with. I don't have, the people I deal with are very upfront. If I ask for a certain budget, I don't get the runaround. Maybe let's see what we can do. No, I get you're crazy. We'll give you this much. And I appreciate that. That's all you can ask for, is some honesty and being upfront about things, and working together. I have nothing bad to say about working with them at all. And I won't, I know this relationship won't last forever. I'm they're going to move on to somebody eventually, and I still won't have anything bad to say about it. It was great.
Yeah, no, here, man, especially from a sponsorship situation. Cause you know what I think it is that it's like, I don't know, like sometimes, like you said, the guy on the street isn't going to understand why the CEO sometimes is doing certain things, like for the sake of the company, because a company's also beholden to its shareholders and all that, but they're also trying to be beholden to the people that got them where they were, which is like the guy on the bike on the street. It's like it's a delicate balance, man, because you're dealing with a lot of like basically American subculture and outlaw world, but also you're dealing with a lot of corporate culture. So it's a weird position to be in. Like if you're like, in that corporate structure, you know what I mean? It's like, you're beholden to these guys, you know what I mean? Like on this level, and then also, on the business level. So it seems like a balancing act, for sure, to try and keep things afloat and everyone happy,
Yeah. They're really good to me, and they understand, it's our scene, our guys. They'll go out and drink a couple beers and ride their bike. Like, obviously, as a corporation, you can't show that. You can't, so, but they work with us. We find loopholes to still party and have a good time, and still work with the company. And like I said, there's nothing more I can ask for them. And what better sponsor is there for a motorcycle show than Harley Davidson?
Yeah. Cool. Well, what else you got cooking, man? You got a lot of irons in the fire, man. What else is going on?
I think, it's just the shows that we're planning to do, right? This Legacy Foundation, and then Mama Tried. Are you coming to Mama Tried? I see you there every year, I think, right? Or
yeah. So it's like Zach and Bobby. Like Zach's been hitting me up. Like I don't have anything done to bring this year. I might just try and do like, so for me, it's like hard to do. All right. We were talking about earlier, like it'd be great to be able to go to a show and not have a booth and not be beholden to it, and like just be able to pop around. I also kind of need to be able to have business happen at a show for me to justify going out to a lot of shit. Like, cause it's, I'm working 7 days a week and cost and everything. But if I can make it happen, I'm going to try and just skate in and like hang out for a day or two. Like, but I don't have anything set up. Like I didn't talk to Scott or anything, cause I didn't have any bike to bring this year. Like we're working on some stuff. Like I'll try and have a bike for next year, but, so yeah, I might try and just pop through and hang out. You know what I mean? So
some of those, we're not doing much. I might be sending some hats and mags, and then we're just going to have some art hanging. Some man art hanging. We're going with our friends from Huckleberry Brand. They're setting up a booth, and then Tommy's setting up a booth. What's his name? Tommy Speed. I can always forget his name. I just call him Tommy. Anyways, yeah. So we're all kind of be set up upstairs in the balcony, hanging out. I'm not planning to be there. This show for me is like it's kind of a networking show too. Kind of, it's same thing with like Parts and Labor, the Builtwell did. There's some great networking for the industry. I really never. Until recently, I never really understood the whole really networking, but putting a face to the name and shaking hands and having a beer, having a dinner, having a conversation goes a long way in our industry, right? We're still dealing with a lot of I'm 53 and there's still, I call old people that are still in the industry that they want that handshake, man. And if you want to do anything in this industry, you got to just show up, man. Just show up. And, you don't always have to sell something. You could just go. And those are some of the obviously better times you have because you're not stressed out about getting up at crack of dawn to make sure your booth is set up and all that. You can stroll in when you want and walk around, hang out, get a little drunk if you want, not worry about things, So
yeah. I think you're saying all the right things. So like So I'm like 50-50. I'll be out there. It's more of a time thing because I have a bunch of irons in the fire as well, and it's just if I can carve out some time and you know what I mean. And it's like for me, it's like I'm already in shitty cold weather, so it's not going to be any different for me.
I'm not looking forward to the 7-degree night I just saw on the weather.
Yeah.
But so we got oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say it's like I should have really just been out there in Ventura.
That was a ticket, man. I mean, Ventura in February, 70 degrees.
Yeah. That's an easier sell than especially if I go to fly into Milwaukee. I'm like, am I going to be able to fly there and not have any snow delays or get stuck? Like going there or coming back. You know what I mean? Like, I might just drive. I like driving.
What we're doing is we're flying into Chicago. It's an hour drive from there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we got to do a stop somewhere, and it's more than an hour delay to get on the next plane and all that. So we just fly into Chicago and drive up. It's a nice drive. The weather looks good to drive, so we're good. But so after Mama Tried, what's that? It's February. We're gonna do a little show in Decatur, Texas. An old friend of mine, Brendan, he used to work for Old Smoky Moonshine.
Yep.
And used to party with him a little bit, have a good time. He used to set us up with that moonshine. He opened up a bar up there, and he just called me and he goes, "Hey, like I want to have a chopper party." He's like, nothing big, that you don't need to do anything, just come out, hang out. And I was like, all right, like let's see. We kind of worked it out. It's just called the name of the bar is a County Seat, so we're doing the County Seat kickback. I'm gonna fly in a few days early, get some Danger Dan time. He's got, he's building a M8 chopper, and I'll ride his other chopper, and we'll go camping for a couple of days and get dirty, and then we'll make our way to the show. That's late April somewhere. And then can you catch my dog barking? I don't know if you
it's all right. I love dogs. It's cool. They can make guest appearances anytime.
So that's April. May, June. We got a decision to make. Are we going to go to the last El Diablo run in May, or are we going to go to Thailand for a bike show? It sounds like an easy choice, right? Like go to Thailand, but not, man, because EDR, I've been to almost all of them, and I love that show. But Thailand is bitching,
Yeah, but if Thailand's going to be there next year, that's the thing. Is it? You know what I mean? Like, is the invite going to be there? Yeah, like, You got to like Southeast Asia's got a fucking scene kicking, man. Like, I get hit ups from some of the guys like from like Indonesia and not really Thailand, but like Indonesia and where's the other one? I can't remember. There's a few countries out there where like they're building rad choppers, but they're building them out of like things they have. So they might not be Harley, but they'll be like these weird, like little bikes, but they're like building like, raked out long bikes out of them and crazy shit. Like they're being very, they're doing a lot of, cool engineering with what they have available to them out there, you know.
Yeah, sorry, I'm telling my kid to stop the barking. Yeah. Where'd you go? There you are. Yeah. Yeah, they got those little bikes. Didn't they got the tuk-tuks or tuk-tuk? I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
Custom ones. That's that, you know, of course Japan has everything. They've got you know, everything there. Like they got all our bikes.
Dude, when I did Moon Eyes, they had us come out. It was like 2005 or something, 2005 or 2006. They had them all then. I was like, oh, here's where all the knuckleheads are. And now it's 20 years later, and it's like, I'm sure there's even more, but that it seems like that slowed down a little bit, but they're still going, you know, them guys, the commitment they have to design.
Don't answer it. Grab her. Sorry,
yeah, it's all right, man. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, it's but what we were saying, just like Thailand, like what all the stuff they got going on in Southeast Asia, man, they're doing cool shit, and those dudes are like ride like maniacs. Like, you know, like whenever you see their videos and stuff, I'm like, damn, dude, like you guys are gonna die. Like you're on these little bikes and like you're just going fucking insane, you know. Like I love that shit.
Yeah. Oh, Malaysia has a good scene.
That's what I was trying to. Yeah, that's
some of the guys from Malaysia rode to the Bangkok show when I was there a few years, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years, and they did a full motor swap on the way because one of the bikes blew up, and they, you know, bike that lost his brakes or something. So they're like, well, the guy's like, I don't want to ride that bike. Like, let's just pull that motor like on the side of the road in Malaysia. They just did a full panhead motor swap.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking rad, right? Like those guys ride. But yeah, I mean, it's all over the world, man. It's great. It's great. So yeah. Yeah, but other than that, you know, we got that, and then we'll have Sturgis and Kansas City and maybe Moon Eyes. I don't know if we're going back. Like, you know, we don't go every year. But it's
all yeah.
It's hard to do them all. We're having a blast with ours. You know, this Ventura one was a blast. Kansas City was a big success last year. You know, we were getting guys saying things like, man, this community needed it. They needed a bike show like this. And, you know, Jackie's man's from Kansas City.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good shit going on. You know, we're just making mags and doing shows. That's it.
Oh yeah. Where can people find you? Give out the socials so that people can give you a shout.
Yeah, Choppers Magazine on Instagram, Facebook, if anyone's still on Facebook. And then Chopper Fest for the shows. We do. I know one last thing I got to talk before we go. So we were doing the Virginia City Roundup where you could get on a horse and ride and all that. We did that for 5 years. It was great success. We had fun, but with the addition of the extra Chopper Fest, we're going to kill that one, but we don't want to kill it in its entirety. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to do town takeovers, and we're going to start with Virginia City. So we're just going to tell people, hey, we're coming up to this town. We want everyone to ride with us from wherever, and we're going to party for a weekend. No vendors, no show, no prizes, no raffles, no nothing. Come and party with like-minded people, have a good time for a weekend, and go home. And then we'll change that town every year.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll just do these. You know, it sounds bad, a takeover, but it's not like Hollister, right? Booze fighter shit. It's just guys going, having a good time. So I think that's what we're gonna do. That's on the whiteboard is the town takeover. So, you know, we'll start with Virginia City to where we were doing the show, and then we will change it up next year. So.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that there's such like a nationwide, like there's like all these grassroots shows all around the country, and you could team up with one of the organizers and be like, hey man, we're gonna think maybe your town, like what's cool, you know what I mean? Where's the good riding, you know what I mean? And like, you know, like you got a bunch of guys out there that are already ready to rock and roll, you know what I mean? And like that could be fun as fuck, man. Like no, no preordained stuff. Like just show up and whatever happens, happens, and it's a good time.
We'll let the towns know you're gonna
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
We're thinking 80, 100 people might show up, so it's not like we're gonna, fully take over a town. But as this thing grows, like it might, and it's just gonna be a fun hangout, like a roving, basically party, just a roving party type show, and everybody could check out bikes and hang out and drink beer, get ice cream, do whatever you want to do, man. Like, no agenda. So, but yeah, Choppers Magazine, Chopper Fest, and then that one is currently called Virginia City Roundup, but we'll probably just change it to the Choppers Mag Takeovers. So we got 3 channels. But yeah,
man. And so if you're listening, make sure you subscribe to Choppers Magazine, support independent media, especially independent media that supports stuff that you love. And have the magazine in your hand. It's good to have, kick around your house, put it on your coffee table, pick it up and look at it. It's beautiful to look at. It looks way better in a magazine than it does on a little screen on a tablet or on a phone. Not to say don't get it digital if you don't want to get the hard copy, but I'm saying it's way better to hold a full size thing than it is to look at it on a little, even if your big iPhone or your big whatever phone, like, it's always better to hold a magazine. But I'll have all those links in the show notes. So if you're driving or riding right now, you don't got to pull over and try and write it down. You guys already, most of the people listening to this already know Choppers Magazine anyway. So, but you know what I mean? It's good to put your face to it and people get to know you a little bit better and everything. Cary, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna shut this off, but I'm not hanging up. So just hold on 1 second. All right, hold on.